millions or even billions. And I will tell you a story that I was holding to my chest for, I would say, over 20 years. Thank you for clicking and welcome to my channel. Yes, I will be talking about real estate, what is going on in 2024 fall market, what can we expect in spring of 2025. But I have noticed a huge difference in my own experiences in my network between millionaires, self-made, and someone that has acquired wealth and they have dispersed it across the monopoly table waiting for that particular outcome. So this will be my own take, my own experience, what I went through in my life, and why I'm making this particular video, exactly this one. I got my eyes opened due to another video on YouTube, and for some reason that particular video on YouTube just opened my eyes to see what I was looking at all along, but I couldn't really decipher it. So if you like this, stay tuned and let's get right into the video. All right, so what is going on in real estate across Canada, all major cities, including Toronto and Toronto GTA markets? We know that the Bank of Canada did reduce these bank interest rates, and it seems to be feathering in the right direction. Despite all of that stuff, there are a couple of issues all along. Inventory spikes, the cancellations of inventory listings are through the roof. They're canceling these listings all across the board. Why? So you ask yourself why. Most sellers today in this fall market, because it seems to be this soft, they're saying, hold on a second, I will wait for the spring market like everyone else, and then we'll have another issue. But we'll get into that a little bit later in this particular video. But what I want to touch on, and where my eyes were actually opened, is that, all along, like, I had a huge network of people by default, right? I like a lot of people like me. I at least hope so. And in this particular network, you meet all kinds of different people, wealthy people, millionaires, hardworking people, salespeople, people that acquired a lot of wealth or millions or money or real estate or businesses through their previous generations. People leave a lot of stuff for their kids and stuff like that. But I have noticed a huge difference between someone that made their millions and someone that got those millions acquired, as mentioned previously, through channels, family, by default, you name it. And the difference, the biggest difference that I can point out, and I can put it in a single word, is fear. And I have noticed, because of all these shakes in real estate and everything that has been going on, I noticed that these folks that actually generated their wealth through hard work, time, their own network, they are not as afraid versus everyone else that put these chips on the table, play the monopoly board, and it seems to be going well. But now they're afraid and they're raising their voice so much. And I'm speaking to them and I said, okay, look, you're not the only one. Yes, you lost money here, you lost money there, bad investment, you went overboard, you bought more, or you acquired more than you could have handled or chewed in the same bite, or however you want to call it. But as I mentioned, I see fear in their eyes. So I went back and I asked myself the question, okay, success is success, right? Or having money, right? What does having money mean, right? You can open different streams of network. just because you have money, everybody will give you an applause, even though you have nothing to say, because they know behind that smile there's a lot of money, and obviously they will give you some form of a respect. Then I said, okay, so but what is the difference between these folks that have acquired millions or even billions? And I will tell you a story that I was holding to my chest for, I would say, over 20 years, that I could not decipher it. I could not decipher it. So let me tell you this story before I get into more stories and my experiences. But it like my eyes for some reason they got opened up, because at that time I did not understand it, but now I seem to get it. And you know what? Comment below, just so I can experience your experiences. Maybe I'm seeing something different, and that's fine. Even if I see it differently, or if I think I'm seeing it right, it could be my opinion, and that is all good. But I just want to hear what you have to say. So one day, obviously working, like even as a young man, as a teenager, I always had jobs. I was always working 50, 60 hours a week, ever. You know, lack of weekends off and all of that stuff, running family businesses and whatnot. And it was fine. It never bothered me, to be honest with you. But then one day, I knew of this gentleman, and he is a billionaire. So one day I was driving home, and I have seen a butcher shop on my street where I used to live closing down, and they were taking these big refrigerators and they're loading it on an old rusty pickup truck and all of that stuff. And I couldn't understand. I'm like, why is this butcher shop closing? Because running business, I get it, it's tough, but it seemed to be doing well. Like, it was a great location, it's doing fine and all of that stuff. I didn't understand why they would go under or go bankrupt. So I went back to my parents, and I spoke to some friends. I said, what's going on? He's like, oh, so you know who that owner is? I said, well, no. So they actually told me who the owner was. And I said, hold on a second. That person, as far as I know, is a billionaire. Hold on a second. A billionaire. And they said, yeah, like he owns that butcher shop. So hold on, no, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. We're mixing up a few things, and it doesn't make any sense. So the times went on. There was a local coffee bar, right? Coffee shop, coffee bar. We used to have, espressos and all that stuff. And I see that gentleman, right? Dressed as a farmer, not a big deal. And I asked these people around, I'm like, I've seen this gentleman here before, but is he so and so? He said, yeah, that's him. Is he an actual billionaire? I said, yes, he's a billionaire. Okay, so does he have a butcher shop? I said, yes. I said, look, few days ago, I saw this man carry a refrigerator on a almost broken, rusted pickup truck. I don't get it. If he's a billionaire, not a millionaire with a B, billionaire, how does this even make sense? He can hire, he can wire, he can do whatever he needs to do in order to do whatever he needs to do. So for 20 years, I couldn't figure that out why. And I get it. Most say, hey, look, if he would spend that money all along, it wouldn't make sense because he wouldn't have any money. But look, come on, give me a break. We're talking billions here. Like $1 billion is 1,000 million. Okay. So in this video that I saw, it was interesting because, just analyzing someone who is that successful, and that particular person was a builder, a custom builder. He built thousands of homes all across Toronto GTA. he was buying farms, and he had a hobby of owning farms and working as a farmer. Therefore, he had, other businesses, and he had these butcher shops and all of that stuff. But then I realized, I'm like, look, that man had no time off. He was working with his hands all the time. He was, I'm sure, I'm not, I'm sure, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sure he had to be sitting at these round tables and these successful meetings and all of that stuff. So, what I got from that story is that even talking to these millionaires that I have mentioned in the beginning of the video, they seem to be not afraid of what's coming. Not at all, whatsoever. They seem to be chill. I talk to them. I'm like, look, you're going to lose. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. But then I started to find similarities. And what were the similarities? Most of them. I didn't obviously investigate anything here, but most of them that I know have some kind of a hobby, some kind of a different dimension where at this part of, I would say, success, they work at the highest level possible to get that. And then the same day they switch their roles and they work here, right? And I always ask myself the question because, yes, I have read books. You're paid, your wage is worth more than somebody else's wage. If you're the thinker, you're paid $500 an hour, and that person, with no offense, that's pushing something else in your corporation, it's paid $15, so you should do this and that. We know that. But then I saw that most of these that were successful, they were doing that segment of corporate world. But then they had this world here that it was upside down, and they seemed to be crafting something. Like I've been to their homes. I've seen, like, oh, so what do you do there? Oh, I fix old TVs, or I fix old radios, or I'm an enthusiast. I collect, I don't know, CDs or cassettes or old receivers. I fix them, I trade them. I'm like, hold on a second, give me a break. How much is this thing? It's like $35. Okay, so you fix it for how much? Oh, for $15. So altogether, $50 invested. So for how much can you sell it? $80? Yeah, about 80, $90. Okay, fine. So where you sell it, Kijiji, Marketplace, whatever, channels, newspaper, community, I don't know. Like, what is the point, dude? Like, you're consuming a lot of dollars, thousands, millions, whatever, and now you're playing small level? So I couldn't understand that. And then crafting, they're always into wood, or they like to play with wood, or they like to fix stuff, they like to sell, they like to play with cars. I've seen those. And I say, okay, so why do you bother with a 1983 Corvette that's rusted and doesn't make any sense, and you're trying to get these parts from all across the world just to make it work, and your profit is literally $500 at the end of the day? So I guess maybe that's the secret, because in the rough times, they seem to know that particular formula, right? In the other segment of the new world, new era, new millionaire style, if you have the money, you do nothing, all right? So if we don't have internet for 2 days, forget about it. Nothing works. Nobody is getting an income. Whatever. Everything shuts down. So that it was mind-boggling, and it seems to be the fact that these new people had no skill attached to what they owned, had, or what they were managing, And if they let that go, there's nothing else. But then on the other side, you have the same millionaire that's playing with stuff that really doesn't make money. But it's the art. It's Kunst. It's the art of being able to bring something to life, to have that 0.5%, 1% increase in value that has been generated with your hands, right? Like I've seen it. Farmers, oh, I plant my own, I don't know, tomatoes, potatoes, whatever. People have a lot of stuff, right? So it was mind-boggling, but I believe that that's the secret in success. Not only acquiring, it's remaining at the top. And that also eliminates a lot of fear. It eliminates fear because so what? I'm going to lose it, I'm going to gain it, right? So you have somebody that's very versatile in knowing this high-end lifestyle or feeling, because money is energy or power. So having that, but in the same day, loading up an old refrigerator in a rusty pickup truck that's probably his, by the way. But you understand what I'm saying? So it was mind boggling. And one more thing, and this is my personal experience. I am honored. I've been through thousands of homes in Toronto and Toronto GTA, all across Southern Ontario. And I'm honored to be in so many homes, to see so many beautiful things, right? Like what people have acquired, like how they made these homes smell, look, feel, and all of that stuff. But let me tell you something. These people that were born in the 50s, 60s, and even 70s, like I find that, they're different. They're collecting stuff. They fix stuff. They play instruments. They're engaged with stuff nonstop. Like I'm telling you, probably like even if you go a little bit up north, like in the smaller towns or villages and stuff like that, like I don't think that I have ever been in a home that doesn't have a sewing machine. Like, I don't think so. Like I can bet that every home has a sewing machine. Every home has uh, some kind of toolbox or a full wall of tools, like man tools, right? They're fixing lawnmowers. They're selling them. Like even here in the city, like I keep passing by this guy's house, and he keeps fixing lawnmowers. I know this gentleman. He had a high-paying job in downtown Toronto, high paying, okay? So he would get home, go to his garage, and fix lawnmowers for his neighbors. $10, $3, $15, whatever. I don't know the pricing, but I would assume is, under $100 for sure per fix. So now he retired. I still see him. He's walking a little bit slower, but he's there with his buddies, and there's probably like 20 lawnmowers in his driveway. But I'm saying, how can this generation fail? And now you have this new generation, which I think, like this generation is brilliant. It's so smart. They have access to every single data point, information within a second. And they didn't use anything. They're not using, like they're using maybe their head and they're using maybe that stuff, but I don't like they're not generating anything with their hands, right? Like nothing that they see and they say, hey, I made this or I fixed this. So I don't know, like that's just my experience, and after 20 years of remembering that gentleman, that is highly respected, right, in the community here, and all of that stuff. Like I see that he was loading a truck, a freezer in a truck, and one thing, like he never had time. Like I don't think I've ever seen this guy sit, right? Like he would come even like to have an espresso, 2 3 minutes, 5 minutes, okay, ciao, boom, he's gone, right? Guess loading another freezer in a truck. But the point is that I don't believe we should be ashamed of having money and having a skill and feeling that confidence, not fearing, because you can make it at the end of the day. And the last point is, if you find yourself having time, excessive amounts of time, regardless of your bank account, fix it. I hope you liked this video. It was a little bit different. If you want to see other videos that I have on my channel, please go ahead, do so, and I will see you in the next one.